Exam 2 for chapter number 8 is going to be similar to the exam you did last week. Um, it's going to start with, or either with a vocabulary or an audio exercise. To prepare the vocabulary section, you want to go. So, chapter 8 is about la comida. This is one of my favorite chapters. And for the vocabulary, you'll have to review the vocabulary in the contextos section, activities in contextos. Then there's some other vocabulary that is included in, in the second part of contextos. And you'll have questions about, about this vocabulary. Um, the kind of questions you're gonna have are not gonna be multiple choice in here. I will give you a definition and you will have to enter the word, but you won't have a word bank. So you want to learn the vocabulary pretty well. For example, I may ask you, ¿quién sirve la comida en un restaurante? ¿Quién sirve la comida en un restaurante? And you'll have to answer whatever that is. O ¿qué líquido caliente bebemos por la mañana? Y la respuesta es café, por ejemplo. ¿Sí? For exercise number 2, you have an audio file. And the audio file, remember, please review the contextos section. There are usually 2 exercises of audio, listening, and the section escuchar, in which you have a conversation in a restaurant. So you'll have something similar to this. And that's what you'll have in the audio section of the test. Then we jump to grammar. Several exercises in the grammar. This is where the grammar information is in the book. The grammar in chapter 8, let's review this together really quick. You have the preterite of stem changing verbs, and there's going to be an exercise on that. These are stem changing verbs. They are verbs that don't conjugate following the pattern because they have a tiny little change in the root or the stem. For example, look at servir. It has an E in there, right? So you would think that you would conjugate every form with an E, but this is the trick. In the third person, singular and plural, it changes to an I. So they can either change from an E to an I or from an O to a U. Those are the two patterns. You have the explanation here. And this is a good exercise, for example. This is a good one to review before the test. But you should review them all, of course. Something else is the double object pronouns. In Spanish 101, you should have learned the indirect object pronouns and direct object pronouns. When you use the two together, there's some rules. For example, the indirect will always be before the direct. Or when the verb is not conjugated, that will be before the verb and independent, separated from the verb. But when it's conjugated, I'm getting myself into a mess right now. So when the verb is conjugated, they go before the verb. But when it's not conjugated, when it's in infinitive form, they go after the verb and stuck to the end. Now it's more clear, I hope, because I got kind of stuck in there. It's kind of early for me too, guys. Anyway, now the trick here is that when le is going to be used with lo, la, los, o las, it will change into se. And the same with les, because in Spanish the sound le, lo is not something that phonetically is accepted. So we like to change it to se. You should review the explanation, see the video tutorial, and then work on the exercises. You have one in here. Let's see if there's one that I like particular. I like this one. This one is a good one. You need to substitute the direct object for the right pronoun or the indirect object for the right pronoun too. Review the supersite too, because there are extra exercise in the workbook that will be pretty good for you to prepare before the exam. Comparisons. More than or as much as. You have comparisons of inequality and comparisons of equality. You should review these and then work on the exercises. Oh, these are the irregulars. Of course, like in English, there's some irregular forms. You have it all in here. There's 3 pages for that. And then you'll have an exercise similar to this. I'll give you a picture and then I'll ask you to make comparisons based on the elements of the picture. For example, do we have a picture in this section? I believe, oh, here, for example, this. Sara es tan alta como Sabrina, so that's an equality. Cristina come tanto como Ricardo. She's eating an apple, but it's kind of as much as him. Pero David está más enojado que Ricardo. So that's the kind of thing you're going to have to do in this section. The superlatives are the comparisons of maximum degree. So to say I am the smartest, you would do it with a superlative in Spanish. Soy la más inteligente. And here are exercises with the superlative. And then, of course, at the end, you'll have questions based on La Fotonovela. This is about a dinner between these two. They're celebrating their anniversary, but their friends are kind of ruining their anniversary dinner. En Cultura, we have an explanation about the relation between Europe and the Americas and the fruits and vegetables that were brought from one place to another. Ferran Adrià is a famous chef from Spain, and this is some typical dishes. My favorite is el gazpacho. What other texts we have? Lectura. Vida Social talks about some social events in the newspaper. Is that chapter 8? What am I doing? Let's see. Where's Lectura again, kids? Kids, I shouldn't call you kids. Lectura. Here, sorry. This is the Lectura, that is, not the social events. What am I saying? So we have a menu and we have a text about a fair, the corn fair, that has a little bit problem with the service. So read about it and review the questions. And Anuncio Sopas Rua, this is the commercial of this chapter that it will make your heart tender, is one of my favorite ones. And where's the... Ay. Sopas Rua. La Comida Latina is a Flash Cultura. And it's an interesting video. Do you know, what do you think is the most popular food in the United States? Salsa or ketchup? Huh, you figure. I bet you guys would say ketchup, but no, it's actually salsa. Can you believe that? And then finally we have Panorama. And Panorama is a text that talks about Guatemala. And here are some questions about Guatemala. So that's it for chapter 8. Again, if you have questions about it, you can email me or do a video conference with me, and you can also contact the tutors in Canvas. Buena suerte y hasta la próxima semana.